Hello everyone, my name is Babe, and I'm in high school. I'm a very funny guy, tall and strong, and I'm athletic. I have a lot of female fans because all the girls like guys who are athletes, especially those who are tough ones like me, boxers. I spend all my time training, but I win the competitions and awards for school, so everyone at school is okay with me missing for failing classes. I spend all my time training and I win the competitions and awards for school, so everyone at school is okay with me missing or failing classes during the semester. And then I usually pass everything at the end of the year and everyone is fine with that. It has always been this way and I'm already used to it. But at competitions, I got injured at my last competition and now I'm recovering and I have to go to school all the time. I'll tell you this, it's actually not as fun as sports and competitions. The most annoying things is that now teachers demand from me to submit all the assignments on time, which just infuriates me because I don't really have time to do my homework. So I'm wondering, am I the only one? Or are there those among you who don't like homework too? Well, you see, it's terribly boring. And what's the point in that? I understood everything that was necessary during the class time, and doing schoolwork at home should be necessary for only the stupid ones. But that is clearly not about me. There is one teacher that I have, Mr. Abnor, and you know he is such a big nerd. He always walks around in a checkered jacket and with the red bow tie instead of a tie, speaks in a low voice and seems generally harmless. He teaches botanics to us. I mean, what a coincidence. A botanics teacher is a nerd. I thought that I would have no problems with him at all, but I was mistaken. He turned out to be terribly boring. He constantly loads me with questions and asks me about the structure of flowers, then about shrubs, and then about trees. It turned out that the tomato is the annual of the perennial herb, and besides, a berry. No, well, here's a laugh. Tomatoes are berries. Did you know that there was not a vegetable, but a berry? Then why don't they just make jam from it? That's just dumb. But the most horrible thing is that I got a bad grade from this crap, and now I have to write an essay on this topic and possibly retake an exam. Shortly speaking, school is not a treadmill at all. It would rather be on vacation. That day, I went to retake my exam with Mr. Abnor. He met me very kindly, listened attentively, and then, in his quiet voice, began to ask questions. Very quietly and completely incomprehensibly, I started to get nervous, angry, and talked nonsense. He eventually closed the grading book and said that he would send me to a class for those who did not pass. It was the end. I was almost recovered. I wanted to start training soon, but if they send me to that class, then my parents would not allow me to play sports, and I would have to devote more time to school. Go to school more often, do more homework, and this idea was hell to me. That's exactly what I don't need. I began to quickly figure out what to offer him, and then he gave me an option for which I already felt bad. I could have expected anything from him, but that this nerd asked was just over the edge. I don't think you can even know what he came up with, or have you already guessed? Write your guesses in the comments and then we'll find out who is the smartest. He smiled at me very sweetly and asked if I often talk to girls. I answered yes, and also said that girls love me and the crowd of them always followed me around. He was very happy and said that since the girls like me, they trust me, which means that I can get close to them and maybe even let me into their locker room. I was embarrassed, but he winked at me and said that an athlete like me is most likely adored by girls who are cheerleaders and gymnasts. Yes, I mean it was like that. We, the guys, often talked about the girls, but I only could enter the locker room, though they always kicked me out. But they never complained about me to the coach, and I think they even liked it. I proudly told the teacher about it. Well, this is just wonderful news then, he told me. Then I think it will not be a problem for you to take hot and scandalous photos of your classmates for me, and I'll give you good grades for that. What do you mean photo? I did not understand. You know, hot ones, where girls are not really dressed, the teacher clarified. And at the moment, I realized that he was definitely a perv. The teacher's request just made me mad, but he once again hinted at a popular athlete like me should not help confirm all the myth and all the athletes are stupid. And if I get into a class for those who are lagging behind the school program, everyone will believe in that even more. And so I agreed. That evening, I thought for a long time how to take those photos. Surfed the internet and found a video on how to make a shoot unnoticeably, like a spy using a bag and a camera. The next day, I armed myself with my spy camera and went to the gym. Everyone was very happy to see me. I talked to the coach and talked about how my treatment was going, but I was actually waiting for the girls to finish training and go into the locker room. So 5 minutes after they finished and went to change, I quickly went into their dressing room. I was hiding behind my bag, and at the moment, I was taking photos. They began, as always, to playfully scream and kick me out. I turned my bag in different directions, and even though I was kicked out a couple of minutes later, I managed to take a bunch of cool photos. On the same day, I took the SD card with all the photos on them and went to the teacher. The next day, he invited me to his place and said that he was very pleased with my work, and now I could count on good grades on his subject. But if I take a photo of one girl in particular, he would help me with the other subjects as well. I agreed, but when he told me who it was, I was shocked. She was the weirdest girl in the cheerleading group, Claire. And why did he like her so much? Well, since he needed it, it was not a problem. From that day on, I began to follow her and take different photos of her. Everyone around me began to say that I liked, even though it was not like that. I just continued doing my assignment, and then one day she came to me to have a conversation. She said that she knew that I was secretly taking photos of her and that she was ready to date me because she believed that's what I was spying on her. That was a tricky situation. On one hand, I could not admit to her why I needed all these photos, and on the other, I did not want to date her. I actually liked another girl. I replied that I was not ready yet for a serious relationship and ran to the teacher. He was very happy about this news and said that I should definitely start dating her. That was already too much. I decided to refuse, but he seemed to understand this and hinted to me how I have good grades not only in the subject but in all other subjects. I realized that I had fallen into a trap. The next day, the whole school talked about my unearthly love for Claire. We were already considered a couple. She and the teacher were just happy. I was just destroyed. My friends laughed at me, said that I could have chosen a better girl. The teacher demanded her intimate photos. She was constantly around me and invited me to a date, and I just wanted to run away from everyone. On that day, I realized that no grades are worth such sacrifices, and it would be much better to sit in the class with those who were behind to do all this now. Also, I realized how much it would be unpleasant for the girls if they found out that I actually traded their photos, and most importantly, I did not know how to get out of all of this, because if this story is revealed, they would definitely kick me out of school, and the coach would kick me out of his team, and he would definitely not forgive me for this. I did not understand at all whom to go to and from whom to ask for help with all this. It was a terrible day, and I saw no way out. At night, I thought about what to do and who to tell to. In the morning, I realized that the only person who can understand me, but most likely cannot forgive me, was my coach. And so I went to him. He listened to me calmly, then said that I had done a terrible thing. But since I had the strength to confess everything, he would help me. I don't know what he did, but after a couple of days, Mr. Abner was fired from school. They said that he was forbidden to teach children and now needs to undergo treatment. I was obliged to go to a therapist, and I still ended up in a class for those who were behind. All my grades were now questioned. I was asked to retake the tests, and as a result, I could not confirm my knowledge. I was suspended from training for the time being, but the coach said that he won't be angry with me as soon as I get better grades, and he will definitely train me again. No one at my school found out about the story. Even my parents were not told about it. I was very grateful to the coach and even asked why I was not punished for it. He just smiled at my words and said that I was actually punished because now I'll have to solve the problem with Claire myself. She still thinks that I'm in love with her and will not leave me alone. And so this is how it is now. Do you think this is not a very harsh punishment for what I did? Maybe it was better to tell everyone about everything. If you liked the video, then press the like button and write us some comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.